uncut,
unedited. Tell the truth
and what?
and shame the devil.
I love being black. All right, people,
You
come on
already know
in.
what it is.
Come on in. We
Live,
got a special guest
uncut,
tonight.
unedited.
I just met
Tell
him,
the
Mr.
truth
Brandon.
and
Mr.
shame
Brandon.
the devil.
Mr.
I
Brandon in the
love
house
being
tonight. And I want to hear from him. And we're posing a question tonight. Why should black people vote for Donald Trump? People, come on in. Come on in. Make sure y'all share this live. Share this live. I'm giving you guys a few minutes to come on in. I'm going to text some folks. Come on in. Why should black people vote for Donald Trump? It's a question. Now, listen, people. I'm not telling you who should you vote for. That's whatever y'all want to do. That's your decision. But I'm asking the question as being a black man, African-American man. Why should blacks vote for Donald Trump? And I need somebody on here to convince me. Convince me, why should I vote for Donald Trump? And I'm looking for some people. Now, this is how we're going to do on the rules. Now, we ain't going to cuss each other out now. Y'all know how we do on the live, uncut, and then we're going to respect each other's rules. And rightfully so, we should. We should. So I want you guys to come on in. I got a guest in the house, and we want to show him some respect. And he snapped out today. He stuck up for what he felt was right. You know, he's not going to represent nobody that he believed that is racist. I mean, that's his opinion. That's his thought. And listen, I can't get mad at him. I respect people. The phone lines are open, 872-299. Look at me. I forgot my 872-299-0808. Come on, call in, people. Make sure you share. Why should black people vote for Donald Trump? So if we have any people that's out there that's voting for Donald Trump, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from those that not going to vote for Donald Trump. I want to hear from those that's in between. They don't know if they're going to go to the left or the right on this one. So come on in, people. Come on in. I need you guys to come on in. This live, uncut, unedited. Make sure you guys share it. Tag somebody. Please do. Now listen. Don't get mad at me. I don't care if you do get mad at me. Whoever you vote for, you can vote for who you want to. But I just want to be fair. Give everybody a chance to talk. I need us to respect our guests. Come in and tell us, why should blacks vote for Donald Trump? That's what I want to know. Why should black people vote for Donald Trump? We got a couple of callers already, and that's good. And I want y'all to come on in and listen. When we listen, please, no cursing, people. No cursing. I need you guys to respect each other. Yeah, we got a couple of people on here, and I'm telling y'all, people, this is real. And we might play a little bit of the video today. That's what I might do of you today at the Trump rally. Play a little bit of that video. You had fun today, didn't you? And take in mind.
You know, it's funny. What I was saying earlier, and excuse my voice because, like I said, it's dead. I did not plan to be there today. As I said in the video, I was door dashing, and I had just completed a delivery. And so I was literally in between deliveries, and I saw the rally on the way to finishing my delivery. Mm-hmm. So when I came back and saw what it was, I actually paused my dash and ended it. Because I was, something about it just didn't sit right, okay. Like it felt like one of those moments where like you see something wrong and you choose just to like ignore it because it's not your business, even though you know it's wrong. And just something in my spirit told me I can't look away from that, okay. So I parked my car and you saw the rest.
Okay. Did you know anybody out there?
No.
Okay.
No. It was funny. I was looking on the comments. People were saying that I was like a paid actor or something. That's ridiculous. If I was paid, why would I be door dashing?
Well, I don't know you. Do I know you? I've never met you.
No. We just met today. That's why I met you. I thought you was a good dude. So I didn't mind having this conversation.
Okay, that's why I want to know, because I don't want people to think I staged or did anything.
No, we
What we're
just
gonna
met
do?
today.
We're gonna take the first caller. 9433. Why should blacks vote for Donald Trump? Hey, caller, what's your comment?
You know what, Martin? It's everybody's constitutional right to vote for who they want to vote for, but Donald Trump is the devil. I'm not supporting the devil at all.
Okay. Now, what makes him the devil?
He means this country for evil. Evil. And I'm proud to say I'm glad that Harris is running. It's about time, because it's about time for a woman to be in charge. All of the women is going to come together. White, black, Puerto Rican, we all can stick together. So that's all I got to say.
Okay.
All of us is going to stick together.
Okay. You got anything to say about that,
Okay.
Mr. Brandon? Okay, you can hang around. Anything you want to say about that?
You know, after today, I definitely don't want to do any name calling, but
Right.
what I will say is that character matters. You know, we can talk about the economy, we could talk about inflation, we could talk about, immigration, and all those things are important too. But the person that we put in that White House, the type of person that they are matters. That person needs to have empathy. That person needs to be able to have compassion. That person needs to be able to not look at people as a monolith. We're all Americans. Like, yes, we have black neighborhoods and white neighborhoods, but we are all Americans. And so I just feel like Donald Trump doesn't represent all of America. He represents the people that like him, that support him. But if you don't, and, according to him, you're not really American or part of this country. So I agree. I agree with her. And so, and to add on to what she said, we have the opportunity to elect a woman. Forget black, forget white, forget Asian. I think it's time for America to have a female president. We've had tons of males. I think it's time for a change. People have said this whole time they want to change. They want something different.
Hey, caller, this is Martin G, aka the Crime Chaser.
A female, something different.
Uncut,
So you believe it's time
broadcast.
for a change? You think it's a female turn, huh?
All your audio.
I do. Women do so much for this country, and especially black women. Black women do so much for this country. To put a black woman in position of power like that, and I want to be clear, it's not the fact that she's black. It's the fact that she is a qualified black woman. She is a lawyer. She was a prosecutor. Okay. She was an attorney general. She was in the U.S. Senate. She was a vice president. Like, do you know how many of us wish that we could have just one of those things on our resume? So when people talk about,
at the end of,
her qualifications.
Hold on, don't cut him off.
I'm sorry, when people talk about her qualifications.
Okay.
Like, look at our qualifications. If you can compare your qualifications to that, then great, go have the conversation. But her qualifications are more than qualified enough to be leader of this country.
Okay.
So,
hold it right there, Brandon. Let's take another call. I believe it's my buddy Sarge, 8217. He's a true Republican, so I know he's voting for Donald Trump. So why should blacks vote for Donald Trump? Come on, Sarge, talk to us.
Well, I say, if you can't say what the Democrats have done for you, and you can't say what the Republicans have done to you, as long as blacks been voting for Democrats, they might just want to try to do something else. That's common sense.
Well,
hold it, sister. Hold it, sister. Hold it. Come on, Sarge. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Let me finish. Now, okay. Thank you, Martin. Now, first and foremost, Kamala is a DEI. Okay.
What's a DEI?
And when I say DEI, I don't mean diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean didn't earn it. Okay. when in 2019, when they were running, she was the first one that dropped out because she didn't have that je ne sais quoi. Biden picked her up. Okay, fine. Now Biden is, so they just put her in there to run. Okay. Now, this country being a democracy that we're supposed to be, shouldn't we have been able to vote at a special election on who America wanted to run for president? Now, you've got the 25th Amendment. Now that applies like if a president dies or is assassinated or something. But the 25th Amendment does not apply to Kamala Harris. And my last statement is this. You've got all of these sorority, collegiate, boule blacks saying that she is black, and she is not. She's not Black American at all, okay? Now, Martin will tell anyone, Sarge don't really identify as black. Yeah, did I lie, Martin?
No, you didn't lie. You didn't lie.
Okay. But you know what? When it comes to identity, I'm more black than she is because my family goes all the way back in this country. Hers does not. So
if I may, I'd like to respond.
I always ask people
to those comments.
I always ask people. Tell me. I always ask.
I'm gonna let you respond. Go ahead.
People, and this will be the one thing I always ask people. The Congressional Black Congress, they went caucus rather. They went into effect with Shirley Chisholm in 1971. I was a grammar school student then. Okay, and it's supposed to have been all this great stuff. They have done nothing for Black America. You got Maxine Waters, who's still in there. She's 85 years old, doing nothing for America. Benjamin Crump, he only shows up if it's a white person or police officer killing somebody black. Other than that, Benjamin Crump is out the loop. Al Sharpton is out the loop. So black folk need to stop playing these games and letting people play in their face. Okay?
Okay.
Talking about we for the black. No, you ain't. You're for the green, the dollar bill.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay, Sarge. Go ahead. Respond. And we're going to play a video. Go ahead, Brother Brandon. Respond.
So I just listened to everything. And what's your name, sir? Sarge?
Sarge. Yeah, his name is
Sarge. It's nice to meet you, Sarge.
Oh yeah. That's his nickname. That's his nickname for me because I'm a military man.
It's nice to meet you. So I'm actually going to tackle everything that you just said in 3 different ways. All right. So the first thing that you said is what have the Democrats done for me and what have the Republicans done for me, right? I'm going to name 3 things off the bat that the Democrats have actually done for me. Number 1, student loan relief. Okay. Number 2, Voting Rights Act that we've been trying to get through Congress, but the Republicans have been blocking. And then number 3, minimum wage and black unemployment is actually down to the lowest stat that has been in this administration. All right. So that's 3 things that the Democrats have worked for. That's their 3. Now you asked me what the Republicans have done. Nothing. And that's my answer to that. They've done nothing for black people, which is why I actually am very confused. I'm very confused as to why, in my opinion, why black people vote Republican, because there is clearly nothing that they are doing to attract black people. And again, I just want to be clear. When you have someone like Donald Trump at the top of your ticket who is a known racist, that does nothing to attract black people. So that's that. Number two. No, come on. Hold on. I didn't interrupt you, sir. I let you talk, right?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So no problem. Number 2, you said that Kamala Harris was a DEI hire, right? Number 1, I just want to tell you that is very disrespectful to women. Women work just as hard as men to get in the same positions. No, let me say that. Actually, let me rephrase that. Women have to work twice as hard as men to get in some of the same positions that men are in. So when you call someone a DI hire, you are basically saying that all the hard work that they put in to get their position, that they didn't earn it. They just earned it because of the color of their skin or some program. And that is profoundly disrespectful to a woman or to any person of color. So I just want to say that. And again, I'm going to go back through Kamala Harris's resume. She is a lawyer, a prosecutor, attorney general, U.S. Senate, vice president. So what about that on her resume makes her unqualified or a DEI hire? You're telling me that she got all of those positions through DEI? So that's that. Number 3.
No, I didn't say she
No,
got
no, no,
all of
time
them
out.
through
I didn't
DEI.
interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you.
I
Thank
know,
you.
but I'm just
So let me
clarifying
finish.
that I
Let
did
me
not
finish.
say. Don't put words in my
Sir,
mouth.
just let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
Thank you. Number 3, you brought up sororities and fraternities, which was a very bad idea. I am a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And when you talk
Oh, well, there
about,
we go.
when you talk about fraternities and
That's it.
sororities, we support each other. It doesn't matter if somebody's in another fraternity or in another sorority. We support each other. That's why we're called the Divine Nine. So that's that. You may speak. It's your turn. Go ahead. I'm done speaking.
Okay, Martin, that says it all right there.
Okay.
That's all you have to be is a boule black, and you are not going to agree with me because I am not one of those. Okay, I am not
I'm
a
sorry.
Roland Martin.
I'm not saying that. But what is a boule black? Can you explain what that is? Because that sounds again very offensive. I don't know what a boule black is.
Those are the ones. Okay, those are
I'll
the ones.
explain it when it's my turn.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
the
please
Divine
explain what a
Nine.
boule black is.
Okay, the Divine Nine, they have their boule, as they call them, events, not realizing that's a French word that has nothing to do with their events. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Boule is a French word.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
So
confused. What's the issue?
It's a French word meaning protector of black people who are protectors of the king. This is why you see black people
that
anytime
are
they come
protectors
together,
of the king.
anytime something happens, they try to keep other black people down or whatever, or try to keep the other black people or mainstream blacks from rising up, because protector of the king means that these are blacks or certain token blacks like Kamala Harris and others who are pretty much protecting white society. That's what that means.
So are you saying that because I'm in a fraternity that I'm trying to protect white society?
No. Boule is higher than what your fraternity is. Look up what the Boule
No,
is.
sir. Again, I think what's happening is that you're not in a fraternity or a sorority. So to be honest, I don't think you know what you're talking about. So I just feel like if you're not in a fraternity or a sorority, I just don't feel like you should be speaking on things that you're not associated with. And I'm gonna say it again. I don't know what a boule black is, but to me that's coming off very offensive. Again, when did we get to a point where we can tell people what kind of black they can be?
Okay. Hey, listen.
Now,
Oh,
may I add in?
Hold on. Go ahead, Roosevelt. Hold it. Oh, Sarge. Really, Roosevelt jumped in front of.
I'm gonna wait for Roosevelt.
No. I got
that.
another call. Dr. Sanders come in. Then I'll let you, because Roosevelt, you really jumped out of turn. But no problem. No problem.
I am so sorry.
You one of my regulars. I believe it's 4703. I believe it's Dr. Sanders. I think that is 4703.
Hi, good evening.
Oh,
Martin.
hey, Doc. How
This
you
is
doing?
me. Hi. I'm going to be brief.
Okay.
Let me just say this. My son asked me this today. He asked me my views about Kamala Harris. Now, she has a wonderful resume. She has a wonderful experience. Let's stick to the issue here. The thing that I'm concerned about, and they were talking about this at work yesterday on the bus. My questions would be to her. What are you going to do about gun laws? Forget about the organizations and the groups. That don't matter. They don't ask you those questions. You don't fill out an application to find out your personal business. You're voted into these offices. You're voted into them because of the people's trust of you knowing how to stick to issues. This is the issue. Gun laws, education, assist with.
I don't know what
Are
happened.
you going to help them have some type of affordable health care that they can get? Let's stick to the issue. That's the question. Because women have a lot of things going on. But this is about issues, not fraternities or sororities. Let's stick to the issue. They need me to be the panelist for her. Because I'm going to come with some real questions. The cost of health care. How much do we have to pay at our job with those who are working part-time jobs? Are they going to be given good health care where they can afford it? And these are things we're talking about here. Now, she made a statement about Medicaid. I heard her say this out of her mouth. Not he say, she say. Now, you want to give Medicaid to everybody, but break down why. Because then you still have public aid. You still have the state that only want to give you so much based on your income. These are things we need to ask. And then the type of Medicare coverage, is that going to change? Is that going to increase? Will it decrease? Because I'm 57. So I want to know. These are questions that we're asking, we have to ask. Then who can afford to have health care that are on disability? Because many of them that have disabilities are going through the ringer with Social Security. They're putting in their own medical officers to be able to examine and review your case. Trust me, I work at the hospital. I know this. And when I see people's charges of visits coming to the doctor or getting an EKG done, an EKG done is like $1,000, and echo is $1,800. See, I'm looking at the real world here. So these are things we need to talk about. Housing, homeowners who are having trouble, who lost their jobs due to catastrophic incidences that they could not have or they could not handle. What are you going to do for those? Are they going to lose their homes? Foreclosure market. Then those who want affordable housing that want to come out of affordable housing, transition into home ownership or condo or anything like that. Then how about the air? What about our water filters? What about Black people being able to build within their own community? See, these are what I'm talking about. We have gifted, good, expert African Americans that have businesses. Where is their place in the world, period? Not just within our community. Can we go downtown and rent without having to go in and stay in our place for decades before we can make some money? Is it the laws are going to be hard for business owners when it's time to file their business taxes? With Internal Revenue, you have to have the Schedule C. These are facts, these are things we have to talk about. Not her religion, not what university she went to and pledged. That don't matter. Let's talk about the real act. Because there are children. The young lady get killed by a white man. Who gonna do something about it? No, he get his butt kicked for a second. What about the prison system? I just was watching TV yesterday. In between the Olympics, I'm hearing Stateville got a problem. Stateville needs to be closed. And Krista says what? Oh, well, by the way, it should have been closed years ago. You wasn't even here. So the thing about it, we got inmates. Now, what are we going to do about those inmates? Are we going to help them transition and get them back on straight streets to be able to come back and be re-evaluated? And then when they say, well, I'm not going to do it, I learned my lesson. Okay, give them a chance. Give them the opportunity. Many of them may not. Larry Roberts, my brother, has a very excellent program in cosmetology. He's opening up one in Dalton. He didn't have one in Rockford. He got 2 schools here in Chicago. He didn't got certified in Las Vegas. See, these are things because he knows that when the men and women get out of prison, it's going to be hard for them to get a job. So he opens that whole Pandora for people to be able to do something. These are facts. What about babies? What about cancer? I'm a 15-year cancer survivor. What about those tests that we need to help get rid of the cancer cells? These are this is real. Stroke, aneurysm, heart attacks. When our like that young man that Cook County Sheriff, that's a doggone shame. The same age as my daughter. These are facts we should be discussing. These are questions that we should be presenting. All that other stuff, it don't matter. Now, it's just, who these people to call the LGBTQIA ABC group? They want all these rights. They want the parade. They want this. They want that. Meditation online. These are things that we're seeing because the whole, what is that mountain, the chapter 32 or whatever it was, that said we're going to attack America. Well, now we're dealing with the real issues right here. So these are the questions we should know. Whether she runs for VP or not, it don't matter. Let's talk about Donald Trump. Ask him the same question. Because he reminds me of Bush from the Little Rascals, always whining. That's this man up against the wall. Not talking about, oh, I don't like your son. Well, I don't like your son either. I don't want to hear that stuff. That's exciting. So what? You don't like my son. Let's talk about finances here. The banking industry. Let's talk about when you put your money into the bank or somebody, these what you call them, scam artists, come and swipe money out your account you don't know nothing about. These are questions you ask these people. I don't care who their mamas and daddies and aunties and uncles and all that. It don't matter. Get to the fact. Because it makes me tired. It makes me walk out like, oh, who cares? At the end of the day, we are the last group of people here that need to face up the truth. Will we hold her accountable? Martin has said this time and time and time and time again. We argue about hot dogs and chips when we should be holding these people to their word. Not getting on social media, writing cartoons and throwing daggers. Get these folks in there. And then if they don't, Martin said this before. Get them out of office. Simple as that. End of discussion. Move on. Because we're arguing with each other about stupid stuff. That's not helping nobody. If you're a member of a fraternity, sorority, a church, who cares? We're fighting for our life. People are getting killed, y'all. We're arguing about stuff that ain't got nothing to do. Nothing to do with life. If you want to be a part of Mickey Mouse Club, so what? Enjoy it. Who cares? Stick to the issue. Write some stuff down. Write it down. And throw it at us. Get them commentaries. You say Roland Martin, all this, throw these questions at these Negroes.
Okay.
Put it out there. That's how you do it.
Okay.
And hold it to the word. Amen. I'm
Okay.
out.
Okay. We got to go. We got to go to Roosevelt back. Okay, Roosevelt, your turn. Go ahead, Roosevelt.
Yes, good evening to everybody. I was just coming on your show because I heard why, the young man say, why would any black vote for Trump? I can't speak for anybody else. I'm just going to give a little bit of like my views and everything on it. Because it's like what Sark says, the Democratic policies, black people, we've been voting so-called Democratic for years and have gotten absolutely nothing. It's two things that, that we should ask of Democrats who claim to be the friends of black people. First of all, reparations in the form of cash payments for past atrocities and tragedies done by this country. And what did Kamala Harris say? She's actually on the record as far as saying or whatever. Well, when people asked her about it, well, I'm not going to say I'm going to do anything or that will only benefit black people. No. I mean, saying that she can't do something to only benefit black people, but they passed the so-called Asian hate crime bill that only, specializes Asians. They passed certain rights that only is specialized for LGBT, certain rights that protects abortion, certain rights for this, certain rights for that, but nothing for us, which are black people are the main base of the so-called Democratic Party. Some of the main people who have to put Biden in office, and we couldn't get anything for our vote. I mean, it's like, other groups vote their interest. Black people are only so interested in voting for history. Oh my God, it's the first so-called, and she's not even black, you all. First so-called black woman president. Oh, that's all everybody's so concerned about. It's just voting because they're not even seeking the face of God. They're seeking a so-called black face. And the fact that she's a woman, just because black people are so interested in making history, but in the end, what has it done for us? Absolutely, positively nothing. I mean, with Democrat policies, especially here in the city of Chicago, they brought these immigrants in as a replacement for us. And she is really, really much more pro-immigrant. Why? Because she is much more connected to, let's just say, her culture, or because both her parents are immigrants and everything. So she's much more dedicated and everything to that than any other. And, you know, and she flip-flops. She never ever said she called herself black. She always said until 2018, when she was trying to run for president, that I'm Asian. Then all of a sudden, I'm black. Even had the nerve enough to sit up and tell this damn lie, talking about, well, in my family, we used to celebrate Kwanzaa. But she grew up on the East Indian side of her family, not the black side of her family. This is why when she was the state's attorney of the state of California, she locked up more black people or more black men than any other. Why? Because she has no allegiance to us. So why would you vote for someone who has absolutely no allegiance for you? My God, I'd rather take a chance with an enemy over that. I mean, it's just the same. It's the same. And sorry, just right. I mean, a whole lot of these people like her and Roland Martin and even others who are members of the Boule. And Boule is an organization called Sigma Pi Phi, in case the young man doesn't know. You know, that's something you can actually really look up, which means Boule protected of the king. So these are some handmade blacks who are made to protect mainstream white society. That's exactly what that means. In other words, a whole bunch of black people who want to sell us out in the end.
Okay.
That's what the Boule actually is. So you can't trust any one of them. This is why I'm encouraged to go the other way. You never know. I might just vote the couch. I might not vote for anybody because they're almost both as equally as bad. And as far as I'm concerned, if there's no black agenda on the table, meaning reparations for cash payments and punishment for police, when one of us gets killed, there can be no vote. There can be no support. Thank you, Martin.
Let me play this video and I'm going to let you go, Marcus. Okay, let me play the video of the sister because she's been waiting. Hold on, let me play it.
And all that. No.
Let me start all over. Okay.
The first black woman president candidate and all that. No. Come with some policies. Come with deal with what's really going on with these immigrants coming across this border like this. Deal with these gas prices, inflation, the quality of education in black communities. If you want to run on a black ticket, then you deal with what the black issues are. You don't get to just claim our color and then run off into the sunset. We want something for our vote. We want our money. This country sat here and disrespected us on a level that's unbelievable. We want our money.
All right, Marcus. Go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, Martin, really quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Guess what? I
was quiet. I was quiet that whole time. First of all, I loved what both of the callers before said, especially the doctor, because she's absolutely right. It is about the issues. It's absolutely about the issues. When I talk about Kamala Harris, I am absolutely not saying that people should give her your vote because she's black. She has to earn your vote. She has to present her ideas for the future. You know what I'm saying? She has to show her character. I'm not saying you have to give her your vote because she's black. But what I do know about her, I know that she's actually a serious person. And that when you ask her those questions about the issues, she's going to give you a real answer, And then to the other person that said, I don't know what Boule is. I never said that I don't know what Boule is. I was asking, what is a Boule black? So again, just wanted to make sure I defended myself on that. Thanks.
Okay, go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry. Thank you for holding, Marcus. Go ahead. Another caller. Why should blacks vote for Donald Trump? Why should blacks vote for Donald Trump? Go ahead, Marcus. Your point.
Okay, let me start off by saying
The good Lord is looking down, laughing at us, how we're fighting each other over two candidates that really don't give a 2 cents about us. What good does it do for black people to vote somebody in just to make history and our situation has changed? What good does it do for black people to vote somebody in who is for police brutality and is not going to stop what we're seeing with the Sonia Macy case? We're going to see more of it because, look, if we put Trump in office, we'll have a president that supports that type of behavior. If we put Kamala Harris in office, we'll have a president that fakes like she's black, but really represents another race, and it will only do little. This is all about protecting white supremacy and white people against. It's not about protection. If we don't come together, and whoever get in there, I respect everybody's opinion of who they voted on. I'm not saying who I'm voting for. I'm going to vote because I was taught to vote, but I'm not saying who I'm voting for. But I will say this. We need to quit fighting each other and respect each other's opinions and who we choose to support. If you have some black people that want to support Trump, let them support Trump. It doesn't mean that they hate their own people. They see a different agenda that they want to support with Trump. They feel that Trump will be a better president to lead America. I would say this. There were some good things about his presidency. And it wasn't just about the stimulus check. There were some good things about his presidency when he was protecting the border. How can America, or let me ask any of your listeners here, would you help strangers outside your house and the people inside your house are suffering? You will let them suffer and help outside strangers? That's what America is doing right now. And unfortunately, they're doing it under the Democratic Party by allowing these migrants to come over in here. I think that's what black people are really pissed off about, and that the migrants are getting the same resources that we've been fighting for decades, and they tell us we lazy, we don't want to work, they're taking things from us, but they're giving the migrants everything. And this is the Democratic Party. Roosevelt was right. We've been both Democratic for decades, and nothing has changed. But we've also voted Republican, and let us not forget Reagan. Some people don't want to go back that far, but you got to go back that far because that's the same party that exists today. Reagan was president.
Is it all right if I interject for just 1 minute? And I'm sorry.
Hey, Marcus, he want to come in real quick. Go ahead. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, sir. And thank you for sharing your thoughts. Again, I'm actually enjoying this. I love hearing other people's opinions and all this. This is great. I think one of the problems that I have is that a lot of people buy into the misinformation, and a lot of people have to understand how Congress works. People blame Democrats. I say, look at what people are doing. Don't listen to what they're saying. Look at what they're doing. So I want to be clear because you brought up immigration, okay? And this is a fact. The Democrats and the Republicans worked on a bipartisan bill for immigration, and it was going to pass. So again, those are actions. The Republicans and Donald Trump are the ones that blocked it. That is a fact. So when you talk about like they're not doing anything, yes, they are doing anything. But again, you can have a Democrat president, but if you don't have a Democrat Senate, but you have if you have a Republican Senate and a Democrat House, it's going to be hard to pass bills through. You have to understand how Congress works. That is why Obama has such a hard time getting things passed. Democrats have tried to pass child credit, immigration bills, civil rights bills, voting bills, and they get blocked because they pass in the House, but then they go in the Senate and die. So again, people want to blame Democrats. Like I asked the same question. What are Republicans proposing? At least Democrats are actually trying to propose things that are going to help. Republicans are not proposing anything. So I just want people to understand the difference. And also understand that you have to understand how Congress works. There is a party that is actually taking action to make lives better. And there is a party that is doing nothing. They're just trying to seize power. You have to see the difference. And I'm going to leave it there.
Okay. Go ahead, Marcus.
You still have to take into consideration the Congressional Black Caucus was established in 1971, and they've done nothing for Black people.
Sarge, it's still Marcus' turn. He just interjected.
Right.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sorry for interrupting, sir. I just wanted to make that point.
Go ahead,
well,
Marcus.
Let me say this. Like I said, with me, I don't see nothing that neither party has done. And you're right. If the Democrats don't have certain seats, they can't get certain things passed. I mean, Harold Washington was mayor of the city, and he couldn't get a lot of things that he could have got passed. He couldn't get it passed because of a certain group of aldermen who would not allow it. So I agree with you on that, and people do need to be educated on how this all works. But what I'm saying is we need to dislike each other over who somebody chooses to vote for. And we need to accept the fact that whoever wins, let's try to work with them and make them accountable and hold to their promises that they said they were going to do on their campaign. Let's hold them accountable to that. Because we need a president, right? We need a president in that White House. We need somebody who can make decisions, and we need somebody who can stand up on their 2 feet and not be held up. I ain't making fun of Joe Biden. I'm not saying I support the Republicans, and I'm not saying I'm full Democratic, but I have voted Democratic all my life. But I have also seen flaws with the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. And at this moment, I'm truly undecided who I'm going to vote for. I want to vote, but I don't know what I'm going to vote. Because what good is it going to do?
Okay, I got another guest coming in, people. So just hold on. Another guest coming in, Mr. Mark Wallace. He's coming in now. Okay, Mark, how you doing? Mark, my special guest. So where are we going to start at, Mark?
Well, doing great. Martin, thanks for inviting me on your program.
Okay. So why should Black people vote for Trump, Donald Trump? Think is there any reason that we should vote for Donald Trump, or what's your thoughts and opinions or your factual opinions? Because I know you're a man of facts.
Well, you are asking me whether or not, well, basically my opinion is rooted in work that has been done by the Democrats. Certainly, if we want to just talk about the recent history of all the public policies that have been passed, that the recent United States Treasury Department shows how the 4 major pieces of legislation that have been passed by this administration, the Biden-Harris administration, how it has certainly disproportionately is improving the lives and will improve the lives for Black families for decades to come, more than any other administration, including the Clinton administration, the Obama administration, the Eisenhower administration, or any of the other Republicans. There's not a single piece of legislation that Republicans have passed in the past 50 years that has benefited the average working family, certainly the average Black family. Nobody can support that because they don't have a single piece of legislation that they have proposed and that they have put before legislation that will help the average working families. They've worked very hard over the past 40 years making sure that their legislation disproportionately helps a preferential few of the wealthiest people in the country. That's what Republicans have done. Those are the policies that they've passed. And we can go through a list of policies that has been passed that is going to and is benefiting Black families from this administration.
Okay. Mark, often we've had this discussion in our personal. You often always say that, Martin, can you name me one policy that the Republican Party passed for Black people? You always ask me that. And
well, what my question is, what policy has passed by Republicans that benefit Black families? Number one, you cannot pass legislation based on race. It is not permitted under federal law. That has been tried and on both sides of the aisle. And when it is challenged by the federal courts always reject it. But you can pass policies that impact certain groups or underserved groups you know, but you cannot pass a policy that is based on race.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay.
Hey,
All right.
Martin, you never
You're
actually asked
breaking
me
up.
that question directly.
You,
Never actually asked me that
you're
question
breaking up.
directly. I was saying we start off this.
Yeah, I hear you. You sound like a robot. Stand still. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was saying we started off this by saying why should black people vote for Trump, and you never actually let me answer that question directly.
Okay, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. My answer would be, no, if I'm being honest, you shouldn't. And my reasoning would be, again, it's mostly about character. You know, I get the policies. Everyone has a difference of policies, right? People, you know, when it comes to immigration, people have differences of opinions. When it comes to abortion, people have difference of opinions. When it comes to education, or, you know, gun laws, or all that stuff, right? The policies are one thing, but we have to talk about the man is racist. The man is
Okay,
misogyny.
Brandon, I
You mean,
need you to
so
stay
I want to
still
be
because
clear.
you sound
Yes.
like a
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear
I
me?
need you to stay still because you sound like a robot. Keep your phone still. You know you get excited. I hear you clear. Stay just like that so it won't mess up. Go ahead.
My bad. My bad. Yeah. So I just, you know, just to sum it up, I think the type of person we put into office matters. They have to have character. They have to be able to show compassion. They have to be able to know the history of this country. You know, you can't just put anybody in there that doesn't have morals. And Donald Trump has shown us time and time again that he does not have morals. It is not a coincidence that he is the only president in our history that did not have a peaceful transfer of power. The only one. Every president, whether they won, lost, they still transferred power peacefully. Donald Trump went to the court and tried to overturn it 60 times. He went to the courts and lost like 62 out of 60 out of 63 cases. He tried and he lost. So, and my thing is, when you go and continue to lie about the election, then you go and steal classified documents, and then you go and defame a woman. You know, it's like on and on and on. Like, we know who Donald Trump is. So we have a chance to put a woman. Now, Kamala Harris, again, I want to be clear. I am not saying Kamala Harris is perfect. She has her own background to answer for. But talk to her about issues. Stop talking to her about how black she is, you know, if she's Indian, you know, if she's DI hire. All that stuff is offensive. Talk to her about her resume. Talk to her about how she's going to handle issues. I believe Kamala Harris is a serious person, and Donald Trump is not. So I want to directly answer that question and say you shouldn't.
Okay. Well, hold on. I got another caller. Area code 424. Go ahead, caller. I believe it's Jessica. Go ahead. Hey, caller.
Hello.
How
Hello.
you doing?
I'm not going to be, I'm doing good. I'm not going to be long. I just want to say this. People need to remember, we all need to remember, first and foremost, that everybody's right to vote is just that. It's their right for their vote. They have the right to vote Democrat, just like they have the right to vote Republican. Just like they have a right to cast their vote for independent or Green Party. And they have a right to, as they say, couch vote. No one should be getting beat up on for a decision that they make about a constitutional right that belongs to them. As black people, our vote does not belong to the Democratic Party. As far as I'm concerned, they're on equal footing. The Republican Party signed the proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation that got us out of slavery. Whatever the reasons were, it's the legislation that did it. The Democratic Party gave us the Civil Rights Act of '64. So as far as I'm concerned, We're on equal footing with with the government. Now, at the end of the day, the federal government is the only government that Black people have. We don't have the luxury like some of these other groups where we can have dual citizenship or we can have embassies and treaties and sanctions and all this that America can get into agreements with other countries to assure that their citizens that migrate to America, that their rights are protected, they're given certain economic protection, certain economic policies. We don't have that. All we have is America. All we have is this one government. So at this point in the juncture, we need to look at what's really going on with our community. Now, I'm not going to sit here, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, Mark.
Go ahead.
You would be a fool as a Black person
Dorian, right?
to think that either one of these parties are going to be rah, 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 black people, rah, rah. Neither party is, because that's not America. And that's not our history or our relationship with the federal government here. But what we can do is pay attention to policies that do not hurt us. And as much as the Republican Party may have not done things that are for Black people, they haven't done things that injure us, like immigration is injuring us. You cannot deny that. If you were at that rally today and you were going on and on about this Chicago, you're right, this Chicago. Look at Chicago now. This Chicago, with a bunch of illegals hanging on every corner, with a bunch of women with kids begging on every corner. This Chicago where Black people that used to have these, I'm not going to call them Black jobs, I'm going to call them essential jobs. Like that sister that was on YouTube the other day talking about how she's a high school graduate. And a lot of these essential jobs, lower paid jobs, are for Black people that just have high school diplomas. And to think that these immigrants are coming over here just getting lower level jobs, pay attention. You don't see Iris Martinez, it's the clerk of the court. You don't see Anna Valencia, it's got a high position. You don't see all those high positions, Hispanics in City Hall right now. So that you sit up here and think that they're coming over here just to be maids and nannies, who you think you're fooling? You cannot sit here and give everything that our relatives and ancestors fought for to build in Chicago, and you just gonna hand it over to some illegal immigrant when they gonna take half the money that they get and send it back over to where they from to support their families over there. Every dime that Black people get gets replenished right back into this American economy. Whether we're doing it in our own communities or not, it goes back into the American economy. We got one name. We got one social security number. They over here with 15 million different names each, with 85 million social security numbers each. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So to sit up here and act like this is not what's happening in our communities today, I don't know where you at. And that's all I got to say about it. People got the right to do whatever they want to do with their vote. We don't owe the Democrats our vote. No more than we owe the Republicans. We free today. We vote how we want to vote. You all have a good day.
Thank you. Anyone want to comment real quick on that? I'm going to go to the next call if not. Got another call. Okay.
Yeah, I throw something in there.
Go ahead,
something in there real quick about what
go ahead.
What she talked about. When we were understaffed within the military during the Obama years, they did a fast track thing for the military. Join the military under these specific jobs, and you got instant citizenship as long as you completed your 5-year military enlistment. And you didn't even really have to speak English to do it. I'm done.
And I think, and I think for me, Martin, I think another reason that pushed me over in 2020, especially for the Republican Party. And I know that people have different opinions on this, but I'm just going to say how I feel. I feel, and please, I'm not trying to take away like anybody who, let's just say, passed away or nothing from it, because truly, if anyone passed away, that anyone knows from COVID, my prayers and condolences are with you. But at the same time, I feel that we were lied to a whole lot about COVID, I think, through the Democrat Party. And I feel it was our Democratic mayors and governors who put some of the tightest, strictest stay-at-home orders against us. And plus, Kamala Harris, she was like the main one encouraging people to get vaccinated and, having people, pretty much telling people that they should get vaccinated, even if it's against their will. But then a whole lot of Democrats like her play the part of the hypocrite when they get up and they talk about abortion. Well, everyone has the right to do what they want to with their own body. But yet when the vaccines came about, Democrats wanted to take away the freedom that everyone had the right to do with their own body. So it's like the whole hypocrisy about that I didn't like. I mean, here in Illinois, everything was super strict around COVID. But if you went to Texas, that's a Republican state where one of my best friends stay. I mean, it was like so free. If you went over to Indiana, just a little bit east of us, it was free. But here in Illinois, it was under Pritzker. It was so strict. And I can't believe word has it that she might be considering Pritzker as her VP. And I made a promise to God Almighty that anyone, I don't care who it was, who had put together policies about COVID and vaccine mandate would not get my vote. So people like her and Pritzker will not get my vote for that reason. I made a promise to Almighty God on that one, and I meant that thing. Thank you, Martin.
Okay, we got a new caller, people. Eric code now.
Martin.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead. Who's that? Is that Brandon?
No, this is Brandon.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Brandon.
I'm sorry. I have to respond to that.
Okay,
because
go ahead.
As I said when you first met me, facts matter. Okay. COVID started under the Trump administration. Under the Trump administration. That's when COVID started. So I just find it very rich that someone is trying to blame Biden and Harris for what they inherited. Trump, I will give credit. The vaccine was created under his administration. But if we all remember, Trump was advising people not to get the vaccine that his administration created. So if we want to talk about mishandling COVID, I don't want to quote the exact numbers, but I believe over 1 million people died from COVID, and that was under the Trump administration. So again, facts matter, and I'm gonna leave with that.
Okay, new caller 917. Thank you for holding. Area code 917. Go ahead, caller.
How are you?
Great. What's your comment? What's your concern? I can't hear you. You got to speak louder. Miss Tiffany, I can't hear you. Tiffany, why are we always having this problem when you call in? You got to speak.
Obama phone.
Yeah. You sneaking and calling in or what? I can't hear you breaking up. Maybe you need to maybe you need to hang up and call in again, and I'll take you right back. Okay, thank you. Go to the next person real quick. Area code 319. Go ahead. Come on, caller. 319.
Hey, how you doing, Martin?
Good. Go ahead, caller.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yes. The question was, you said, why was I vote for Trump?
Yeah. Why should blacks vote for Trump?
Well, at the time, I feel, you know what I'm saying, we lived a little bit better at the time when Trump was in office. Right now, you know what I'm saying, people are living check to check. And dealing with the migrant situation, they getting all these funds, and we really around here struggling at the end of the day. And that's why people is upset is in Chicago, because the schools got shut down by Rami Ahmed. Now they opening up the schools to house the migrants and keep their children up in there. And it's just a lot of situations. I know a young man said something about about Congress passing a bill, trying to pass a bill for immigration, but he didn't also mention what was else in that bill that they didn't want to pass it, and that was the funding for Israel and Ukraine. Anytime they try to put a bill through, you know what I'm saying, they put extra stuff in there. Now, if they were so concerned to stop the migrants coming across the border, it would just been a migrant bill, not trying to add some money going to other places, because we are taxpayers. We sending our money elsewhere, and we not taking care of the American people at the end of the day. So, you know what I'm saying? I sit back, you know what I'm saying? I just walked in, and my wife was listening to you, Martin, and I was listening to everybody, you know what I'm saying, discussion. And at the end of the day, if anybody wants, because I heard the man say state tax. Now, nobody can say that when Trump was in office, it was better. And we didn't have no prophecy war. One of the first presidents that we didn't have a war. Mm-hmm. He sat back, discussed, and talked to all the world leaders. He shut down companies that were sending their companies overseas. He put tariffs on them. And heavily taxed them for bringing their product back to the United States if they didn't bring the jobs back to the United States. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we was making more money when Trump was in office. We was seeing more money when Trump was in office. Our light bill today is $500-$600. Our rent is doubling. They saying that you got to have first, last, and gotta have money in the bank and all this to get up and all. I'm like, it's look at what's going on today as the price of living. Look at when you go to the grocery store, how much you spending. Look at the gas when you going to go get your gas. In Chicago, it's almost what, $5 a gallon? At the end of the day, we have oil up on our feet, and Trump was digging the oil up on our feet. That's why when he was in office, gas almost went down to $1.89. See, these are things that we ain't discussing. We arguing about everything else, but the policies, I heard one man say that discussed the policy. These is the policies that this man brought. With the HBCUs he funded when they ran out of money. Mm-hmm. When he stated that, you know what I'm saying, that when the brothers was in the federal penitentiary for nonviolent crimes, he pushed them out. When Meek Mill, Jay-Z, and them was all talking this prison reform and all this, he said, man, when you know anybody in there with a nonviolent crime, write their name down, give it to my people, and we're going to get them up out of there on nonviolent crimes. And a lot of my brothers and sisters came home from up on there in the federal penitentiary for nonviolent crimes. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot that he's done, but a lot of people don't want to discuss it. Everybody is in their emotions and not, you know what I'm saying, looking at the facts. 1935, what, the United States turned into a corporation. It's a business, however you want to look at it. People is mad because how he speak and how he tweet and all that. But look at his work. Look what he's doing when he was in office. Why you think they put all these trumped up charges? Why you think they put, you know what I'm saying, all these things, they can get convicted felons? They found him guilty in civil. They didn't find him guilty in criminal. And all the charges, the big charges is A6, they just dismissed. Everything is falling apart, then they want to try to kill the man. Why are they trying to keep this man out of office so much? What do we know and what was he doing for them to keep him out of office so much? I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but I have common sense. So at the end of the day, I know Kamala, you know what I'm saying? Look how we living. This still is her administration with Biden Harris. So what is she gonna change different that she's doing now? You barely heard her. She was the board of czar. Now they saying, oh, she wasn't the board of czar. But in fact, she was. She was the part of the problem that's what's going on today. But everybody want to identify as a black woman, first woman, this and that. But if she's not doing that for your community, why we even concerned about putting her in office? Amen. We got to get off of this emotional kick. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Amen. I appreciate you, Martin, for letting me come and say what I got to say. And thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Martin,
if I can respond for.
Hold on, Mark.
Hold
it, Mark Wallace. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to respond to a couple of things. Number one,
go ahead.
Related to I know that people like to harp on HBCUs, that they think that Donald Trump did something to impact HBCU funding.
I can't hear you.
Let's go back.
Okay.
Let's go back to.
Hold on, people. Everybody put their phone on mute because we get some static. Put your phone on mute. We get some feedback from somebody. I don't know who it is. Okay, go ahead, Mark. You're good. Go ahead, Mark.
All right. Yeah. Let's just deal with it. Number one, when Donald Trump came into office, his economic team zeroed out the budget of funding to HBCUs and minority institutions. Zeroed out of the budget. It was Alma Adams, who was the Democrat from North Carolina, who put it back into the budget and was the Democratic Congress, which passed it. It was Walter Fauntroy, who was a two-time HBCU president, that went to the White House to help the president understand the importance of making sure that funding was available for HBCUs. Now, this was a program that had expired, that was started under the George W. Bush administration. So it was the Democrats who actually put it back into the budget and passed through the Democratic Senate. It was not a policy that Donald Trump proposed or supported. He signed the bill because it was passed through Congress, and it is a two-time HBCU president who helped him to understand the importance of making sure that that funding was passed. Now, they also passed, which is called the HSI. That's Hispanic Served Institutions. So that means that they could receive part of those fundings. And all they had to do is have a minimum of 25% enrollment of Hispanic students in their schools, which means that Texas A&M, Harvard, or any of those other universities could receive those fundings. Under this administration, in the past 3.5 years, Kamala Harris and President Biden has funded $16.5 billion to HBCUs, not minority institutions, not HSIs, but HBCUs. Not only that, this administration has gone after those institutions, those banks down in North Carolina, down in Florida, down in South Carolina, that were given funding from the federal government to those land grant colleges. What they shorted them and didn't pay them more than $16 billion that the federal government sent to those states to support those HBCUs. And they were all red states controlled by Republican controlled governments that did not fund money that was sent from the federal government. Those are the facts about the HBCUs. As far as COVID goes, and as far as the gas prices in 2020, the reason why gas prices were so low in 2020 is because there was nobody on the roads, because the entire world was shut down. So of course there was no demand for gas, so the gas prices were down as low as they were. So that had nothing to do with a policy that administration had put into place. Then on April the 7th of 2020, anybody can look this up. April the 7th of 2020, a report came out that blacks were disproportionately dying from COVID than any other ethnic group in the country. As a result of that, Donald Trump disbanded his own son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who was working to put together the COVID response, and said that we are going to reopen the country when he realized, and that report came out April the 7th, 2020. All you have to do is look it up. So I think that people need to do a little bit more homework and understanding what the facts are rather than their made up facts that cannot be supported, but what the facts are that have come from that administration and what is coming from this administration. In terms of people making more money, people were not making more money. In fact, our economy was doing worse pre-COVID under the Trump administration than our economy is doing now. Those are the facts. All of that information, they can look it up and they can get it from the United States Treasury Department. It's not emotional. It's not an opinion. Go look it up. The information is there.
Hey, Martin, can I join in on that? I'd actually like to. I'd love to build on that.
Go ahead, Brandon.
First of all, what Mark just said was beautiful. And you know, when we first met today, I don't know if you remember, but literally one of the first things I said to those people was that what we're not going to do is just throw out stuff. We're going to live in a reality of facts. Facts matter. And one of your callers earlier brought up the immigration bill and talked about how Democrats are throwing in aid, for Ukraine and all that. Guess what? That's why it's called a bipartisan bill. Each party is giving up or getting something. Each party is not going to be totally satisfied with the bill, but that is why it's called bipartisan, because it is two parties coming together to work on a bill that they can both agree on. So again, that is why facts matter. Again, I want to be clear, okay? Because we've done a lot of this has been great. I've really enjoyed this. I want to be clear. If you want to know about Kamala Harris, look her up. Do your research on her. Look at her resume, look at her background, look at what she's done in her different positions of power. Just look it up. But what I'm tired of is people just throwing out disrespectful things about her, calling her a DEI, saying she's not black. All this stuff doesn't matter in the long scheme. Someone brought up issues, right? Ask Kamala about her issues, about what she thinks about the issues. I guarantee you, she will give you a real answer on every single issue you ask her on, as opposed to Donald Trump, who will either lie or spin or tell you something that has nothing to do with what you ask him about. All right. So that's what I'm saying. I am not on here as a black man. I am not telling people to vote for Kamala because she's black. Don't do that. Look her up, challenge her, make her earn your vote. But what I'm trying to stress is that it is very clear between our two choices who is trying to move the country forward and who is trying to move the country back.
Martin, the other thing is that if you want to know about what the administration and the difference between what the administrations are delivering, it is just like Brandon has said. All you have to do is look the information up. The information is readily available if they want to do a little bit of research. In terms of Kamala Harris, let's talk about what Kamala Harris has done, because I know that people like to use that tag, what has she done for black people? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. When Kamala Harris was the United States Senator, Kamala Harris was the co-sponsor of the bill to cancel student loan debt for HBCU students. Was a co-sponsor on it. That bill passed. It was challenged by Republicans in the federal court, and the federal courts overturned the bill. Overturned it, said, because it was based on race. That was when she was then a United States Senator. Kamala Harris, the vice president with the Biden administration, co-wrote the new bill for student loan debt forgiveness. And what she did was she understood that 77% of black students that go to college use Pell Grants. So what they did is included Pell Grants in the policy so that Pell Grant students would be qualified for student loan debt forgiveness. As a result of that, black students disproportionately, more than any other group, are benefiting from that because Kamala Harris put that language in the policy. So it is not race based, but it impacts a group and black students disproportionately than any other group. And it was tried to be challenged in court and could not be challenged in court and was upheld in federal court. That's just one of the things that this administration has done that's disproportionately impacting black communities. The other thing that they did was unbundle the federal government's contracts. Under the Trump administration, they bundled the federal contracts, which the federal government spends about $600 billion a year in contracts that go out to private companies. But because they bundle the contracts, only large companies could bid on those contracts, and small companies could not bid on it because they didn't have the capacity to handle those contracts. This administration unbundled those contracts, which afforded for black companies to benefit at $70 billion to date in contracts coming out of the federal government. These are the facts. All you have to do is go to the United States Department of Treasury and you can pull them up. These are all policies that are impacting black communities across the board. And we can go down a whole list of them. So if you ask my opinion, why we should support Kamala Harris for president, it is because of these policies that she has worked with this administration to pass that are going to benefit black communities and will continue those policies. Somebody asked what she was proposing for gun reform. She has come out and emphatically said that she is going to work hard to make sure that there is an assault weapons ban put back into place in this country. Guns are the number one killers of children today. Guns are the number one killer of children. The number one cause of death for children today is guns, not cars, not any other, not cancer, anything else, guns. She has emphatically said that she is going to work hard with Congress to do that. In order for her to do that, she has to have a Congress that she could work with that will pass that kind of bill. So I would say the best thing that for us to do, one, is we need to, I would recommend that we certainly support this candidacy and making sure that she has a Congress that they can continue to do this work and continue to have these policies to move forward that will be helping black families going forward. Because if the alternative gets into office, the fact is that they will roll back many of these policies and renew the $2 trillion tax cut that they gave to the 1% of the richest people in this country. That's 85 people who hold 80% of the wealth of this country will get renewed tax cuts that you and I and the average poor person will have to pay for those types of policy. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. So people can spew all kinds of things that they can't support. And I always say that if you're going to spew something, you should be able to support it. Go to the United States Treasury and you can pull all of this information up. You want to know what the Biden-Harris administration has done? Even in Illinois, what the federal government does, or what the presidency does, is Illinois is going to benefit by $46 billion out of this administration over the next decade, out of the 4 pieces of legislation that is passed, which is creating opportunities and jobs, which we are starting to see this happen now. It was just announced last week that a CompuLab is going to be built on the old U.S. Steel site out here on the southeast side of Chicago. We're calling for making sure that Black people get 60% of those jobs. Those jobs are going to start at an average salary of $89,000 a year. They're starting to build the battery plant down in Kankakee, which comes out of the infrastructure bill. They are refortifying an almost bankrupt auto manufacturer in Belvedere. Between both of those, 5,000 people will go to work, and 5,000 people will be earning above $80,000 a year with benefits that they can retire from. These are the kinds of policies that come through Democratic administrations. They do not come from and have not come through Republican administrations. In Chicago, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, 70% of all Black employment was in labor. 70% in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. When Ronald Reagan, a Republican, came into office, Ronald Reagan decided to stop enforcing the antitrust laws, which was put into place to stop major corporations from having monopolies that reduce competition and allowed for those companies to ship jobs overseas and destroyed more than 46,000 manufacturing companies, more than 22 million jobs, and Chicago was one of those cities that was hit the hardest. So we went from 70% employment in labor to 28% in just 6 years of Ronald Reagan being into office. When Ronald Reagan came into office in 1980, 180,000 Black men were incarcerated. As a result of Ronald Reagan's war on drugs, between 1980 and 1987, 660,000 Black men were in prison in this country. We can go down the list of what Republicans have done that disproportionately disadvantage Black communities in this country, period.
Hey, Martin, can I ask Mark a question?
Okay.
Yes, real quick. We got some,
Can I rebuttal off that? Please?
okay, let them rebuttal real quick a little bit. Hold it, Brandon. Let's
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What you have to say, Sarge? Go ahead.
Okay, check it out. Number one, as of
Gordon, how you doing?
Okay, I know you don't hear George Blakemore. I'm coming to you. Just stay still. I'm coming to you, George Blakemore. Go ahead, Sarge. Go ahead.
Okay, as of guns, all right. Assault weapons ban. Contrary to popular belief, there's no such thing as an assault rifle. There's a Army-like rifle. That's all. So how could you actually have a ban on something that doesn't exist? It's all lip service. Now, let's move on to college debt. The Montgomery GI Bill was enacted 40 years ago. Now, in many, many movies that are Black movies, they speak down on military enlistment. When someone can join the military for 3 short years and their whole college tuition and everything connected with it is paid for. Now it's even been upgraded. The war on terror. Whereas, as a college student, as long as you make a C average, you receive a check for $1,500 a month tax-free while you're going to school. But too many Black folk want something handed to them, being anti-military and this and that. Now, let's go into the drugs thing. Okay, they put drugs and guns in the neighborhood so we kill ourselves. As if Black people do not have common sense enough to not use a weapon on someone within your community or sell drugs to someone in your community. That is a cop-out statement. And I end with this. As of that assault weapons thing, that's the M16 military-style weapon. The reason so many Americans died in Vietnam is because it was a faulty weapon from the get-go gate, and they have been working on it to try to get it to work right ever since. I'm done.
Okay.
Hey, Martin. I'm gonna go
Martin,
ahead.
can I say something real quick?
Okay, okay. Let me go, Brandon. Then I go to you. Come on, Brandon. Go ahead.
Okay. Two things. I'm gonna keep repeating what I've been saying on this entire thing. Facts matter. When you say that an assault rifle doesn't exist, again, that's your opinion, but that's not a fact. Number two, I wanted to
That's
ask
not
Mark a
that's
question.
not an opinion,
Hold
bro. Look
on,
it
I
up.
didn't,
Facts
sir. I didn't
matter.
interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. Please let me speak.
No, facts matter. Facts matter. Look it up. Don't
Yeah,
put words
so
in my
let
mouth.
me speak. You said assault rifles don't exist, sir. I'm
I'm
taking
letting you
your
speak,
words.
but
I'm taking your words, sir. So please, I'm not putting words in your mouth. That's
right.
what you said.
Google it. Google assault
So
rifle.
anyway,
Google it.
again, I didn't interrupt you. So can I please speak? Thank you.
Okay, but
I
you're
wanted to
saying
ask,
something that assault rifle. There's no such thing.
what happened to decorum? Again, I didn't interrupt you. So if you don't mind, I'd just like to speak. I'd like to ask Mark a question. I'd like to think that I'm a very eloquent speaker, but Mark's putting me to shame here. So I wanted to know what he knows about Project 2025, and if he could quickly sum it up in a way that he can just kind of sum it up in a way that people can understand. And then the reason I'm bringing that up is because when I came out there to that rally today, right? Not only did I say voting for Trump, that he was a racist, right? But I said you are voting against your own interests. Voting for Trump is voting against your own interests. And to me, Project 2025 is a clear example of that. So I just wanted to know if what Mark knew about it, and if he could kind of explain it in a way that people can understand it.
Well, I have read Project 2025. It's taken a long time to do it. And Project 2025 has been out a long time. We're just starting to corporately talk about it. But Project 2025 has been out for a while. It is been crafted by many people who are from a conservative think tank called the Heritage Foundation. And three of the central writers of Project 2025 come out of the Trump administration. Now, I know that former President Trump is trying to distance himself from it because it is becoming something that is well known, but they're talking about disbanding and getting rid of the Department of Education, and is proposing to give a constitutional amendment that will give term limits to Congress, which will deploy the Department of Justice to investigate the Biden crime family. This is all in Project 2025. Has nothing to do with policies that are going to benefit the average person. I'll be talking about that more in depth on Monday night on my program on the People Show at 7 o'clock. We're going to be going through Project 2025 because people should know exactly what is in this policy. And it was a 922-page manifesto that was crafted in language that makes it very difficult for people to even read it, to much less understand what it is that they're talking about. So you can't just sum it up, Project 2025, but we're going to do it in detail in 2 hours on Monday night. Or if people really want to know about Project 2025 in depth, we're going to go down with those things and out as it relates to our community, right? Because most of the people who we're talking about are talking to are people from our community. And so we want to go through Project 2025 to talk about the ideas that they want to put into place in the first 180 days, they say, of the next conservative administration. And if Donald Trump was to get elected, he will be a conservative administration. And so in the first 180 days, they want to put these policies in place. And they want to rid the country, the federal government, of any policies that have helped Black communities, like child credit programs or SNAP programs. They want to get rid of the Department of Education, and to complete.
I'm a teacher, so that's a big one.
Yeah, and it can completely privatize public schools to enrich more wealthy companies to take our public dollars in terms and destroy public schools. If you go through most of the states where you have Republican control or general assemblies, they are doing their best to destroy public schools. Take Louisiana. Louisiana doesn't even have a real public school system, where there are 33%, more than 33% of the people down in Louisiana is African American. We had the superintendent there that they had to get rid of, that was running for mayor here in the city of Chicago in this past election. So these are the kinds of things that they're talking about doing. And those policies that they're proposing to put into place in the first 180 days of the next conservative administration, whether it's in 2025, if former President Trump is elected, or if they get a conservative administration in 2028. So we're going to be talking about that Monday night in detail to explain exactly what some of those critical pieces of Project 2025 they're talking about putting into place. I mean,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
From it. Yeah.
Mark, real quick, tell us when your show is airing on this subject and where we can find you.
Monday night on intellectualradio.com, Instagram, YouTube, my Facebook page, and on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, every Monday night from 7 o'clock until 9. This Monday night at 7 o'clock, we're going to
Mark Wallace, right?
Yeah. It's and you can go on YouTube and look for Mark Wallace, The People's Show. If you don't have Facebook or Instagram, you can get it on YouTube.
Okay, thank you. Listen, I got George Blakemore and Tiffany. Can you submit to George real quick, or you want to talk now? If you don't want to, you can just go ahead. Tiffany, George.
I will submit to Mr. George.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. George Blakemore. Why should blacks vote for Donald Trump? Go ahead, George Blakemore.
Why should what?
Blacks vote for Donald Trump.
Why not? Because your past history shows that the Democratic machine haven't helped the black. So I'm doing it for revenge. I don't believe in the God and all that revenge. I'm doing it for revenge against these Democrats. I'm not so in love with Trump. I hate those Democrats, and I'm doing it for revenge. And you can do whatever you want, project this, project that. And then if they close down all the public schools, black people could still survive and learn. These schools are not teaching nothing with the Democrats, these charter schools. So I'm making it very clear that I'm voting for Trump because I want to get even. I hate these Democrats. So on my way to Freedom Land, and then do you think I'm a damn fool to think I think that Trump gonna save us? I hate these Democrats. Today I was up in Lincoln Park painting, and I was just astounded to just see how many of these whites was voting for Kennedy at the Independence Party. So I don't know why you talk about Project 25 and the Army and all. Black people, I don't know what you have to do to realize that you have to do for yourself. Project 902 or whoever comes in, I'm doing it for revenge. Whoever wins, we got to do what we got to do, and we can't be hung up. I hate what has happened in the city of Chicago with these damn illegal immigrants. I hate all these Democrats, all these black faces in high places selling black people out. Now, all of you all trying to talk so eloquent and project this and talk right with
when it's all over, this election over, you still gonna have to have money, food, shelter. Don't care who gets in. I'm doing it because I hate all these Democrats. And if you don't hate them, why don't you hate them? I'm talking about the Democrats in the city of Chicago. You don't hate them. You don't hate these people.
Oh, I hate them.
I don't have to love no damn body but me. Black people got to get over that religious shit to love your enemy. These people are our enemies. These cannot continue. Project 204, Project 103, and this and that. We got to teach these people how to treat us. The Democrats, the Republicans, the liberals, and the all. When this election is over, we're still going to need food, clothes, shelter, education, trying to survive. And we don't even, you know what would be a hot topic for you, all you blacks, to talk about why black people don't have business. Why black people don't tend to their damn business by having business. The examples of Black Wall Street and all of that, it goes right in one ear and out the other. We don't have shit. So we're not about shit. And we think that the Democrats don't give us shit, the Republicans don't give us shit, the Independents don't give us. We got to do it. Project 202. Now I'm through with it. Y'all go on with the dialogue. Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
Amen.
He's gone. Okay, go ahead, Tiffany, real quick. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Okay. Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. It's good to hear your voice.
Can you talk in your phone? Because you're breaking up again, Tiffany. What's wrong with that iPhone? I hear you.
Okay.
Hold on. Do you have me on loud mic or Bluetooth?
No, I don't.
What about Bluetooth? Oh, okay. Do you have any audio playing while you're listening to us? Because if you have Facebook, that'll do it. You got to turn it down or turn it off.
All
right. Well, come on with your comment. I can't hear you.
I can't hear him, Martin.
I can't hear
I'm
either.
letting you know if somebody's calling in.
Yeah, I can't hear. I don't know, Tiffany.
Can anybody hear her?
Yeah. Okay.
Brand, can you hear me, Brand?
I can't hear you. No matter if Brandon can hear you, I can't hear you. I need to hear you. The host.
Yeah,
I
can hear you, but it's a little low.
It's going in and out.
Okay. Well, Tiffany, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't wasted the whole minute. Roosevelt, come on, Roosevelt. Now, Roosevelt, tell us, since you agree with George, you hate the Democrats. Tell us why you hate the Democrats. I just want to know. Give us some reasons.
Because, like I said before, they have not done anything for black people. And the thing is, now, Mark, with all due respect for you, I don't know if you remember me or not, but you were a guest some years ago on my show. You know, we met downtown, and you spoke on my show years ago. And I used to listen to you while you was on VON. So much love, much respect, first of all. But I would have to say, it seems like people who are more on the Democratic side, they always want to tout what, let's just say, Democrats have done that was right. They never touted what Democrats have done that was wrong. So certain policies of Reagan, like the tough on like drugs or the war on drugs and stuff, that put blacks in jail. That's something that came from on the Republican side. But no one is, Brandon or Mark, excuse me for saying so, no disrespect, is talking about how Joe Biden, and he brags about it to this very day because, he is very damn proud of it, wrote the entire 94 crime bill. He wrote the 3 sexual
That's factually incorrect. It's factually incorrect.
Under Clinton, and passed it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. That's not factually correct.
Roosevelt, Mark want to interject real quick. He said,
first of all, that's factually incorrect. The 1994 crime bill.
Real quick.
Yeah, hold on. Let Mark talk. Go ahead. I'll let you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
the 1994 crime bill was written by multiple states and police organizations and criminal justice organizations. This was not something that was written by Joe Biden. He was a co-sponsor of the bill, and every member of Congress on the House and in the Senate, with the exception of 8, voted in favor of it, and they all ran their campaigns on it. It was not a good bill. It was a bad bill that disproportionately criminalized black men and women. More than 500,000 black women went to prison under the mandatory sentencing of the 1994 crime bill. It was a very bad bill, but this was not a bill that was drafted by Joe Biden. That's factually incorrect. There were multiple agencies
He said it
that
himself.
participated. That's not what he said. He said he was a co-sponsor of the bill, but he was not the drafter of the bill. There were multiple agencies and multiple agencies that participated in drafting that bad bill that was voted into law.
Can I add on to that? Because I think it's hilarious that he brought that up.
Yes,
My brother brings this up all the time. I am very aware of the crime bill, and I'm very aware that Joe Biden played a part in that. And he has to own that, right? Like, he's responsible for that. I am not absolving Joe Biden of that whatsoever, because it did have a negative impact on the black community. Now, what I will say to that, though, is that people evolve. And I think people sometimes forget like the human element of things, right? You can have a viewpoint when you're 20 years old, and then you get to 30, 35, and your viewpoint changes, right? So maybe at the time Biden thought that that was going to be a positive bill. Obviously, it was not. And I do want to point out that Biden actually came out and apologized for the bill, which a lot of politicians don't do.
No, that was
A
Clinton.
lot of them will either double down
Clinton
or just
apologized.
not say anything about it. But to me, that's why I keep bringing up character,
Biden did not
right?
apologize.
Like, someone realized that they made a mistake, and they had the courage to come out and apologize for their mistake. So again, I just want to make it clear, I'm not absolving Joe Biden of that bill, but character matters again. I'm leaving
Brandon, Roosevelt said that wasn't Biden apologized. That was Clinton. That's what Roosevelt said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Clinton apologized for it. Biden never did. And the thing
Clinton apologized for it after he was pressed and pushed to come out and publicly acknowledge that it was a bad bill for him to sign into law. Joe Biden did acknowledge that it was a bad bill, and he was apologized for supporting and co-sponsoring that bill.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say.
It did what it was not intended to do. And I agree with Brandon.
Yeah, but still, all of that, that's just lip service, because neither one have done. There's still people in jail to this very day because of that. So if you thought, not meaning you, but them, if you thought or did something, you made a mistake years ago, and I mean, you would do something now if you are really, really sorry to correct it. I mean, even it says in the Bible, faith without works is dead. So therefore, you can't just go and just say something and apologize and then not take steps to correct the problem. There's still people sitting in jail under that bad bill. So he has not done anything to correct. He might have apologized, but hasn't done anything to correct it.
Well, that's not correct. That's not correct. Because under the Obama administration,
can I also add something to that?
Under the Obama administration,
we have to get in on this with Mark.
Crime.
Hold up. Go ahead, brother. You've been waiting.
Crime bill. Yeah, with the crime bill that y'all talking about, it came in '87, and like you say, Bill Clinton signed it in office. But that was like the brother just said, that, you know what I'm saying, you say he apologized, but he really didn't correct anything, because when he was vice president, when Obama changed the ratio from 100 to 1 to 18 to 1 with Holder, you know what I'm saying? He didn't, you know what I'm saying? It was just from baking soda. People was getting charged 100 to 1 You know what I'm saying? If you get caught with 1,000 grams of cocaine, you get 5 years. But if you have 20 grams of crack, you get 20 to life. This is what they implemented. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother said, you got people still locked up behind this bill. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people came out when Obama changed it to 18-1, which it should have been 1-1, because you can't make crack or cocaine base, as they put it on the indictment paper, without baking soda and without cocaine. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, they put it at 18-1 and they brought a lot of people home. But at the end of the day, that Kamala Harris, when she was going for president before she dropped out, she even said Biden was racist about the crime bill. And then she turned around and become his vice president. So that's fakery. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
so if I was
don't say what you got to say, bro.
Right. If I was to get that much against somebody because she's the main one, I remember when they did the whole Democratic thing back in 2019, they called him out on his racism. If you are that much against somebody, why would you run along with them? Because I'll tell you something that I did. I mean, Martin knows who she is. I'm not going to call her name. As a photographer, I was given a golden opportunity some months ago as a photographer to be able to shoot pictures and be paid top dollar at the Democratic National Convention. But now that I don't believe in any of the role of the Democratic Convention that's coming to Chicago in a couple of more weeks, I turned the whole opportunity down. That's exactly what I did, because that's what a person with character does. Even if it's something that hurts your bottom line or could hurt you, I mean, why would she, if she called him out on his racism, if she talked about how he sexually harassed women, everybody always wants to talk about what Trump did. Let's talk about what Biden did, how he sexually harassed women, how he bragged about going to the shower in the bathroom with his little baby daughter. What a sick fuck.
With his daughter.
So, yeah, this is what he said. But nobody's calling him out on that. But everybody wants to, my whole thing is, please be consistent. If you're going to talk about one body on one side, if we got to talk about Trump and all of his sins and misgivings, we got to talk about Biden and Harris and all of their sins and misgivings. And if you want people, Brandon, to support, let's just say a Kamala Harris, what are we as black people supposed to do? Are we just supposed to just like whitewash and just sweep all of the stuff that even Kamala Harris has done against black people in California? Are we supposed to just sweep all of that under the rug and just pretend that it didn't happen, it doesn't exist? Because no other race of people does that. I mean, because if I was a person who, let's just say, who did something to Jewish people, just because later on I apologized or whatever, and that's not going to make it all better. These same Jewish people are not going to support me because of the atrocities that I did towards their people. Or why is we as black people so weak, so spineless, and so mealy-mouthed to where we see people who even look like us doing atrocities against us and all of this stuff, but yet they do us wrong, but yet we still support them? That is crazy. We should have learned our lesson with Obama. And what did they always say? The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and respecting the different results.
Now, if I may.
I'm sorry. He brought up my name, so I feel like I have to respond.
Then you next, Sarge.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I believe I said at the very, very beginning of this that I am not out here telling people they have to vote for Kamala Harris. Look up her record. Look up her resume. If you have questions on her stances on abortion, the border, taxes, whatever, I guarantee you she has an answer for it. Okay? That's it. I want to go back to Biden real quick. I have never, ever in my life been a firm Biden supporter, right? And we've been talking about the crime bill. And I just want to be honest with you. Like, I acknowledge how you feel, man. Like, we all have different opinions. We all have different opinions about how it impacted us in the community. Like, you saw I was quiet the whole time, and I don't want to interrupt because, again, what you're saying matters. Your opinion matters, man. So that's number one. But again, you have to look at people's actions, man. Biden did what he did in that bill, but look at his administration. His vice president is the first African-American vice president. His whole administration is filled with people of color. So you can't say that the man is racist and this and that but look at his actions. Look at people who he has put in
It's
positions of
not
power.
helping us one bit.
Okay, so that's on that. All right. When we go back again to Harris again, do your homework, man. If whatever issues that are important to you that you have questions about when it comes to Kamala Harris, look at her stances. And I also want to put things in perspective. Kamala Harris has only been on the campaign trail for what, like 10 days? You're going to learn more about her as the campaign goes. She's going to come out with her policies. She's going to come out with her stances on things. So give her time to actually lay out her platform before you just, and it was funny. I'm gonna end on this. You just said it's dumb to do the same thing over and over again, right? Last I checked, Trump was a president before. So if you're going to vote for him again, you're basically just doing what you said you weren't going to do. And I'll leave it there again.
All right, go ahead, Sarge.
If I can
okay,
just...
I'm not
you
voting
next, Mark.
for Trump. I'm not voting.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not voting for Trump. Okay, may I?
Go ahead, Sarge. Go.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, gotcha. And I'm trying to be quick. Now, I voted for Trump the first time and the second time, and I'm voting for him again. Okay, that's not insanity. Trump took care of the veterans, and I'm one of them that he took care of. Okay, now I'm coming from that angle. Now, with that crime bill thing, who 100% supported it? Right back in, what was it, 94? Yeah.
It started in 87, then it went in 97, 95.
I'm talking about the passage of it. Don't matter when it started.
Oh, you talking about when Clinton signed it in 95.
Bruh, I started having sex when I was 17. I didn't really know how to do it right till later. The right part is what counts, okay? Now, the Congressional Black Caucus supported it 100%. Okay?
I'm listening, 100%. Bro.
Now, I am as old as WVON when Herb Kemp was on there way back. And it amazes me. It amazes me how many people do not know what the call signs mean. VON. Does somebody tell me?
No, you tell us.
The voice of our nation.
No, it's somebody that's on here that was on WVON, right? They should know. They're very eloquent.
He's referring to Mark. Mark, go ahead, start speaking.
I know what it is, so I don't need to fall into a test. If they know, I'm not sure why that's relevant to the conversation. It's not.
You're doing like Democrats.
Well, let me.
Hold on, sorry.
First of all, I'm not going to fall into that trap. I'm not going to fall into that trap because if he knows, then he should say it. All right.
I am going to say it just like Donald Trump. VON means the voice of the Negro. And it's a shame that you, as a person that used to be on WVON,
number one, you're wrong. Number one, you're wrong.
Okay.
That is not what it meant. That's what people adopted. That was never what Purvis Spann. That's never what Purvis Spann, or even the people before, because Purvis Spann bought WVON from since that record. So that's not what it meant. That is what was adopted by people.
Radio station.
So let me just go on to talk about something that really matters.
Hold it, Sarge. Sarge, hold it. Hold it, Sarge. Sarge.
If I may.
No, hold it, Sarge.
Okay.
Let's submit. Come on, Mark.
Number one, the Veterans Bill was not signed into law by Donald Trump. It was signed into law by Barack Obama. That you can easily look up. This idea that Trump took care of the veterans. This was not him signing into law. He said that on the debate. They never fact checked him. It was completely wrong. It was completely wrong.
What are you talking about?
It was completely wrong that Trump did anything to help the veterans. Well, I'm telling you about the bill that was signed into law by the Obama Biden administration. I don't care whether you were in the armed services or not. I'm telling you what the policies were that was signed by. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I tell you what, if you're so factually correct, provide the information so that we can put it on the screen.
Find it for me, Sarge, and I'll put it up on the screen.
I am not. Okay, Martin.
If you find it for me, I'll put it up on the screen. Go ahead.
Okay, I am not on a computer. Okay, number one. Now, since we're going into all of that, like I said, Montgomery GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill, I recall Obama saying out of Afghanistan by July 2011, because I was there and that didn't happen. So, I'm a combat veteran. My daughter is a combat veteran. My son is a combat veteran. Military family, okay? And for you, sir, that I asked about WVON and you could not answer the question, talking about, well, if he knows, he should say something. You should have said something. It's just like if you would have asked me what regulation governs whatever militarily, and I say I'm in the military, I will tell you right off bat. So don't play these little games.
So I'm not sure what that really is supposed to prove. But
okay,
the point is, he cannot provide to you, Martin. He can't provide to you anything about what he said about Donald Trump doing anything for veterans.
Okay.
But it was President Obama that signed into law.
Sarge, hold it. Sarge, let him talk. Go ahead, Mark.
It was President Obama who signed the Access to Care into office August 7th of 2014. Donald Trump went on the debate stage and said that he did it. It happened under the Obama administration in 2014, August the 7th. Any information that you want that is factual, you can find this information. You can spew all kinds of information because you say this, that, or the other, but if you can't support that by providing that information, it didn't happen. Period.
Martin, I'd like to say something real quick, and that's why literally all night, I have been saying you have to say facts. You have to be supporting facts. Again, we met today, right, Martin? Today. And I don't know if you heard this, right? Someone at that rally said that Indians weren't here in America. He said that they were in China. Like, and to me, that blew my mind because it's like, if you know American history, we discovered America and there were people here already. So for you to say that the Indians were in China and there weren't people in America, like, this is the type of stuff. And I don't speak for Mark, but this is the type of stuff that frustrates me because you try to present facts to people and they come with just random opinions that can easily be fact checked. You know, Mark has said multiple times, go look it up, fact check it. It's right there. It's right there for people to look up. Anything that anybody wants to know about Kamala Harris, go look it up. It's there. But stop just spewing falsehoods, you know? And I want to say this to Sarge because he's a veteran. Thank you for your service. You know, again, I respect how you feel. I definitely don't want to say anything disrespectful, but, you know, please come with facts.
I
want interest, but you got to have the facts. You can't just say stuff.
I think it's important for people. Listen, facts are one thing. We can have varying opinions on how we get to a certain place, but we can't have varying opinions about what the facts are. If you have an address and you know that address is there are several different ways to get to that address. But the fact is the premise exists at that address. So facts are facts. Opinions on how we get to a certain place is important for people to have their discussions. But if you're just going to spew information or misinformation out to try to support your opinion and you cannot support it, that's counterproductive to all of us. It's counterproductive to all of us. And it's really disrespectful to all of us because we all want for our communities to thrive, and for the people in our communities to have a better life. But you cannot discount what the facts are. You cannot discount what the facts are. And that's why I always say, you know, you have the right to support whatever side of the political spectrum that you choose to support. You have that right. And I would never try to impede someone's right to do that. Now, if I support a different point of view, I will give you the information on why I support that position. You support a different position, you should be able to provide with factual information that I could review, you could review, the same way that I would provide you with information from what I believe or support. As I started to saying to you, that when people start to saying that this administration, and like Brandon, I was not a big Joe Biden supporter. However, Joe Biden has evolved as an individual. He has evolved as a policymaker, and he certainly has evolved in terms of legislation that he has been able to get passed that is going to disproportionately help poor people, black people, and people from the working class than any of these previous administration, going all the way back to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. That is a fact. All you have to do is just check the history. And if you want to know what the policies are that are going to impact people, all I say to you is go and look up the report that was done by the United States Treasury Department that shows how these policies are benefiting black communities, black families, and poor people. It's not an opinion. This is information that anybody can go and get if they took a little time to just go and do the research.
I have a question, Mark, real quick. This is almost not really, it's kind of like off the subject a little bit. I heard you say earlier that it's against the law for Congress to pass a bill or policy or something strictly for a race of people. Did I hear you say that?
Yes.
Okay, now, how did they wind up passing a policy for the Asian people for a hate bill?
That's what I want to know.
First of all, it was not a single policy that was passed for Asian. The hate bill is a hate bill that covers anybody committing a crime against any particular group of people. That is not just, it was not just for Asian people or not just for black people. It was a hate bill that came out of this rise of attacks on Asians. It was not based on Asian. That language is nowhere in the policy.
Okay, well, I stand to be correct. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Hate crime bill then.
Blacks don't have a hate crime bill, but they got one in Georgia now since the Ahmaud Arbery murder. We got one.
Why do they call it the Asian hate crime bill?
I can actually answer that. If I can answer that, if
go ahead,
you try the George Floyd bill, right? Same thing, just like what Mark just said about the Asian. They tried to pass the George Floyd bill. Again, this is why I said earlier, you have to understand how Congress works. It was blocked. All right. So again, just like he said, the same way that one bill raised out of the Asian hate that was coming out, the George Floyd bill came out of that whole situation, and they tried to pass it through, and it was blocked.
Okay.
Right. Well, you got a Ahmaud Arbery hate crime bill right here in the good old great state of Georgia. You sure do.
Okay.
And like Marcus said, why would they call it an Asian hate crime bill?
Because they sure did do it.
Do you remember when they passed that bill?
I know. I remember it.
She looked at me in my face like, well, yeah, Asian hate. It was for the Asians because they did what they did. in Atlanta. It was 2 different Asian spots in Atlanta, and that's what sparked it all. Remember? Georgia, gotta love it.
Okay.
Mosquitoes out there.
Okay.
And they passed it for Asians, and they made it so strict to even where, let's just say, even if an Asian person did something, let's just say to you, if you were to defend yourself, they want to throw you in jail because of that stupid Asian hate crime bill. But if I was in office, I would repeal that. Definitely.
Say for instance, I went down to Midtown Atlanta, and I had one of the miniature ball bats like they used to give at Kaminsky Park. Well, I don't know what they call it now. And I was down there in Midtown, hot pockets, and I was swinging it at people and making what they consider homophobic statements. They take my narrow butt to jail for a hate crime against the LGBT hot pockets.
I mean, you can, and the thing is with LGBT, even if you disagree for religious reasons, you cannot even say nothing. And even as here go my cousin, she keeps telling me, you know, she's one of these Biden butt kissing Obama dick. Oh, I had to catch myself. I was about to say something, but
tell us how you really feel.
I was about to go there. Sorry, Martin. But it's like with her, she's telling me, well, you just need to focus on the issues. Don't get so hung up with the distractions and all of this other stuff.
Okay.
But as a photographer, that's something that could affect me later on in the future, because what if it's a gay or let's just say lesbian wedding? And let's just say I might not want to, because of religious reasons, I might not want to shoot a gay or lesbian wedding. And they would say, the Democratic Party would say I discriminated all because of religious reasons. So yeah, that's something that could affect all of us.
Okay. Well, let me put some up on the screen real quick for you guys. I want to put some up on the screen. I think it's up there now. Let me put it up there, and let me just blow it up a little bit. Blow it up there. And Mark is right. He's definitely right. And let me see. Put it on the screen.
What happened is, you know, we use language, right? We use language that certain things are called in the news, but that's not the name of the actual piece of legislation that was passed.
Right. And that reminds, you know what that reminds me of, Mark? When they came out with the health care thing, they was calling Obamacare.
Oh, they call it Obamacare, but it's the Affordable Care Act.
That's what it is. So it's understood.
That's what it actually was. And that's one thing I've always been against. People saying, Obamacare. I'm like, that ain't had nothing to do with them. They had nothing to do with Obama. It was the Affordable Care Act. It had been there already.
Okay, I just wanted to put that on the screen.
But since it went into whatever during his presidency, then, you know, they always sticking stuff on people. Right. But, you know, I just stick to the dated numbers, like I said.
All right. Well, Sarge, you make sure you give me that make sure you get that over to me about that the veteran bill you said Trump did. I need to get that if you
No, I didn't say Trump did a veterans bill.
Well, what did you say? You said
I said what? No. Hear me out. I said what Trump did made it better for veterans. Now, there are doggone employees at the VA that did not get a pay raise any year of the Obama administration, and they got raises every single year during the Trump administration.
Okay.
There were veterans that have been sitting with their paperwork dormant for the longest, right? Trying to get upgrades in their benefits because they're messed up. When Trump got in office and said, okay, I'm redoing the Veterans Administration because this don't make no sense. We got veterans. The only time they got attention during the last administration is when they committed, I'm not going to say the word on your show. You know, certain words you can't say on the internet, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, listen, we're going to end it right here. Before, hold it, Sarge. Okay. I got Marcus. Marcus, go ahead and say something. You be my last comment, then I'll go back to my guest panel. Marcus.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Basically, I would say, and I'm quite sure your guest will agree, people need to do their research on these candidates so they speak about them, and research the party and research what their responsibility is to the American public, as well as the other people, the House. When things go through the House and it has to pass, note which party is controlling the House and which party is not, before we start critiquing each party. And at the end of the day, put your faith in God, your trust in God, because corruption cannot clean up corruption. And that's my closing remark.
All right. Okay, Brandon, I'll let Mark, then I'll let Brandon close out. Go ahead, Mark, your closing comments.
Yeah, my closing. First of all, I want to thank you for having this platform, and I think it's always good for us to be able to have conversations to hopefully move us to a point of collaborating ourselves together, make things better. I think that we have to be very careful and move away from this this purity type litmus test that we tend to use to discredit or to discount working with with a group of people. Look, I am a registered Democrat. I have my criticisms about the Democratic Party, and I work with people who I believe that gives us the best opportunity to make things better for our community. And that happens to be, for me, the Democratic Party. And I only look at it based on what the facts show me and what the outcomes show us. And again, you cannot, you cannot have your own set of facts. You can certainly have your opinion about how we get to a certain place. But I like to have conversations that we can at least know what the facts are, and then we can discuss on how we get to a point of making things better in those areas that are not working for the people in our communities. But I think it doesn't do us any good to have these, to take these sort of a purist approach to things to kind of support our opinion or an argument that's not rooted in any solid facts. It's counterproductive.
Okay. Thank you for the words. Okay. Brother Brandon, you the last man standing.
Man, I did not wake up this morning and think that I'd be doing this today. This this has been a crazy day, but I do want to say a couple things. Number one, after doing some reflecting, right? We met today, right?
Yes, we met today.
When I reflect on kind of like how today went, again, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, and I do know that as an educator, I do have to hold myself to a certain standard, like a higher standard as far as like how I present myself. So if I could go back and kind of handle that situation with, less cuss words, obviously, I would go back and do that. Would I change what I did? No, because I'm not for racism, and Donald Trump represents racism. And when I see black people doing things that, and again, for me, it's kind of like it's ignorance. It's not even that they really understand like what they're promoting when they promote Donald Trump. So, I came out there, I did that whole show. I don't necessarily regret it because I feel like if I would have just drove by, again, I said it when I was out there. If I would have just drove by, they wouldn't have taken that stuff down. I actually came out there and had an impact to the point where they actually took all their stuff down and left. So I don't regret that. But I also want to make sure that people understand, like, I was not out there telling people they have to vote for Kamala Harris. It was more telling people you are basically promoting a racist person that has no plans to do anything for your community. We've been talking all night about facts. Mark and I have literally spat out facts about the Democrats, whether you hate them or love them. People have come out talking about they hate Democrats. I have not come on here and said I hate anybody. You know what I'm saying? We've been having a conversation. I don't hate anybody. but I'm gonna rely on facts. So for a fact, Donald Trump is a racist in my mind. For a fact, he's a misogynist. For a fact, he started an insurrection. For a fact, he's a convicted felon. Those are facts. So I don't regret um, what happened today. I just wish that I maybe carried myself a little bit better. But at the end of the day, um, good men cannot stand on the side and do nothing. That's when evil is allowed to prevail. You stand on the sideline, you can't do that. To me, this is not an election where you do that. You have to vote. Whether you vote for Trump. But just understand what you're voting for. If you vote for Harris, do your research and make sure that you feel comfortable voting for Harris. But in my opinion, from what I know about her, what I've researched about her qualifications, I believe she is the best person to move this country forward. And that is my opinion. And when we met today, that was more about racism. That wasn't about voting for Kamala. It was more about this is Chicago. And I know I said that a lot, right? This is Chicago. This is not a city where you can come and promote racism. I'm sorry. I believe that. I firmly believe that. I have my Bulls tattoo and my Sears tattoo. I am Chicago. I may have lived in other places, but I know my city. And I know that my city does not stand for racism, period. So I'm really grateful for you to have me on this show. I didn't know if you thought that I was,
No,
I'm
no.
glad that you got to see a different side of me because I feel like the side that you saw out there was like I
Well,
was a
you
little
know what?
angry, but
Let me just say this. I
yeah,
respect both sides, Democrats and Republicans. You have black Republicans and black Democrats, and I like to hear both sides, and I want to be fair when it comes to this platform to hear. Now, but when you just far way off, I got to stop it. Hold it. Let me stop it right here. But if you bring the facts and proof, man, I welcome them. Whether I want to hear it or not, I will welcome them. And one thing I can say about Mark Wallace, he always bring the facts. Like him or love him, whatever,
absolutely.
he brings the facts. He's not going to get loud with you. He's not going to get in the threatened manner and go shout match. He's not going to do that. I know him personally, you know. So he will come with the facts. And that's why I invited him on the platform tonight because I knew that he was going to bring the facts. Now, who you vote for, that's between you and God. That's your choice. So that's what I want to say. Anything else, Mark? That's it. Anything?
No, I love the idea that people are engaged, and just make sure you go to the polls and vote your conscience. But I hope that you would vote for um, saving democracy as we have it and making it better. The alternative does not have the interest in doing that, and
Absolutely.
we have a lot of work to do. And a lot of things that need to be improved. There's no question about that the inequities that exist for our communities need to change. But the way that we do that is we collaborate ourselves together to make those legislative bodies work together. For instance, we got $46 billion coming to this state. That's coming from the federal government. What are we going to do as a body and as a community of people to make sure that those federal dollars that are coming to this state does not pass our communities by? Calling people's names and moving around on bad information or misinformation is not going to do it. Getting ourselves together in a room, working together to making sure that our communities are invested um, in equitable numbers to make sure that our communities thrive. In Chicago, we have 47% unemployment in black males between the ages of 18 to 25. That's unacceptable to their white male counterparts at 7%. We have to make sure that we have the opportunities to present for that demographic. And I think that it is a distraction for us to get into some of these arguments or conversations that we get into while the resources pass our communities by. I hope we would do better.
All right, people, y'all already know what it is. We've been on here, 2 hours and 18 minutes. Thank you again, Mr. Brandon. Thank you so much. I want to
Thank
let you
you.
know,
Appreciate it.
I didn't pay him to come out there. I let you guys, I met him today. So I'm letting y'all know I
I
didn't have
want people
nothing
to
to do
know
with
I
that.
was door dashing. I was
Okay.
door dashing.
Okay. So
That was
listen,
it. I just
I
came
have
on
no
my
money to,
own. We met
okay.
today.
Okay. Just I just want to put that out there. I just want to put it out there, So hey, because some
Mark,
people.
it was really nice meeting you, man. I had a great conversation. I would love to do this again, but if
anytime,
that
brother.
happens.
We're going to talk, and I'm going to have you to come on the People Show, and we're going to have a lot of conversations going forth. It's real important that we dialogue together and try to bring in positive solutions for our people.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I'll try to dress better next time.
All right, guys. Later. Good night.
Thanks, Good night.
Have a good night.
Uncut, unedited.
Tell the truth.
And what?
And shame the devil.
And what?
I love being black.
I love being black. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you all my wonderful panel, my guests. Thank you for tuning in. This is live, uncut, unedited. It is what it is. I appreciate you. No matter if you're voting for Kamala or Trump, I appreciate you. Listen, this is America, and we have a freedom of choice to vote for whom we feel that best is going to serve our country. Thank you.